晚安，安哦。抱歉，我今天还是不会动啦。我发誓刚可以。刚刚有人乱力气，自首哦。嗨，抱歉，哪次不中啦？不要再乱立啦！玩一下上次没玩完的，上次玩一关，应该已经感觉才1/3。哦是，抱歉。画的那个恐怖游戏还没玩完呢。哦，它叫什么吧？啊，等一下。这样可以吗？可以吗？可以吗？我玩一半了，是吗？还没，是玩一半。等一下有了，动了吧？动了，它正常。上次那个画的那个恐怖游戏还没有玩完，刚刚才想到。
I remember when a young Ogden asked to join the Shelmerston Silver Band. I recognised his talent immediately. He could play anything, that lad. Literally anything.
下次玩好了，感觉玩这个应该可以玩吧。
Eventually, he settled on the sousaphone, which he always insisted on playing with his lucky bronze mouthpiece.
比较不恐怖，还是要平复一下心情吧。我前阵子一直在玩抓鬼，感觉都快死了。
One evening, after the Silver Band played a storming concert in the Camel, Ogden and Sally got it into their heads to go for a night swim in the harbour, young love and all that. Ogden left his mouthpiece behind, and when we came back the next morning to pack up, it had disappeared. It really rattled him. Ogden was worried he wouldn't be able to perform without it, but of course next time we played, he was just as good as ever. Didn't need any lucky mouthpiece, Sir Ogden.
可是我觉得很恐怖啊。
He could play anything, that lad.
其实，我们一直在聊别的游戏，我不尊重这个游戏。
Ogden was so talented, a real virtuoso. Oh, I loved listening to him play.
Oh, speak for yourself, Morris. It was a terrible racket.
吵死狗了。吵死狗了！对啊，他就没有鬼，也没有什么，好像没有会跟着你的东西。画吧，画会动啊，那个画。那他是拿刀子射我
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the volcanic sand spit. We had lost to Appledore for the past 3 years, and it was my first year as captain. I didn't want another loss on my watch. Ogden had just come back from New Zealand and told me he'd be up for it. I wasn't sure. I remembered Ogden from school. He was lanky and good in the field, but batting... not sure.
它就是步行模拟器啊，那个游戏层层恐惧。你心里没鬼就不会怕啦。 なんで
Ogden showed up with his own bat. He told me he'd won it in a pub in Dunedin and that it had belonged to a famous New Zealand player. I wondered whether I should put him into bat at all, but Ogden whispered to me that he'd been playing on deck all the way home. I knew Ogden wasn't a bluffer, but he was never the guy who got picked for the first team at school. Still, I had nothing to lose. Ogden hit a 6 with his first stroke. We went wild! And just when I thought it must be a fluke, he hit another and another. He was a machine! Ogden hit so many cricket balls out into the sea that we had to stop play. We'd run out. It was a stunning win, and we carried Ogden back across the sand and into the Camel. Even though he'd won the match pretty much single-handedly, he insisted it was all down to the bat and plenty of practice. Ogden was solid gold.
How's that? What a great day that was. And we've beaten Appledore every year since. Those poor chaps never did recover from Ogden's incredible batting.
我有在看剧情啊，它是剧情游戏哎，我们尊重它，好不好？就是它剧情很容易让人家觉得有点无聊，还是我没有慧根，可能是我的问题。但它美术很好啦，如果死掉以后世界长这样，我是蛮乐意的啦。
I remember we was walking home from school, a bunch of us, and I told him my granddad said the lad had a live Bactrian camel living somewhere in the woods.
但剧情就感觉没有串成一个主线，不是好几个小故事。
Everyone laughed, but I told them it was true. Ogden didn't believe me. Someone would have seen it. He dared me to climb in and prove it. I told him he'd have to come with me. Sneaking past the big house, we were almost caught by the gamekeeper and had to run. Hell for leather for the woods.
那个狗我也不行，它狗有一点，不行，狗狗才不长那样嘞。它狗有3个脖子，三层脖子呢。
We reached the trees, out of breath. I was bent double and leant against a tree. Ogden had better breath control and he recovered quickly. He saw it first. The clouds parted, the moon shone down, and Ogden gasped. And then I did too. Was it? It was. The next day, we were kicking ourselves. We had no proof. No one was going to believe
它是
us.
有点像小王
But
子
we
那样
knew
寓言
what
故
we
事。
saw.
Oh, yeah, he was a couple of years above these chaps at school. Oh, and he's right. No one believed them. We gave them so much stick.
而且我觉得上次那个什么那个什么啊那个抓鬼游戏啊，是400多块吧？我买来就只开了1次台，像很浪费。
We were 14 when we started going out. Me and my friend Cassia had started a beach clean at the weekend, and Ogden turned up with his mate Godfrey. I had no idea Ogden liked me. He was the tallest in our year, and we all fancied him. By the time we reached the little cove at the north end of the beach, he'd asked me to come to a concert he was playing in. I said yes.
他们对奥格登抱有幻想的原因，就只是因为他身高最高嘛，就这样，就这样，太肤浅了吧，不行吧？
We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Floristry College on the mainland. I didn't tell Ogden. I didn't believe I'd get in, and didn't want him to think I was trying to get away from him. Ogden might have looked mature and confident, but he was a gentle soul, not nearly as sure of himself as he looked. But I did get in. And he was gutted. I felt terrible. I didn't want to hurt Ogden. He said he didn't mind, but I could see he was covering. My last week on Shelmerston was really hard. Every time I saw him, it felt so strained, and I couldn't sleep. Finally, on my last night, I made a decision. I would take an apprenticeship at the garden centre on the island instead, so we could stay together. It felt like the right thing to do. I would tell Ogden in the morning. But when I opened the door the next day, I found Ogden's sousaphone left on the doorstep. I was terrified. What did it mean? What had he done? I ran down to his house, my heart in my mouth. His mum, she never did like me, was a little bit smug. She told me Ogden had sailed off to New Zealand. He was headed to Christchurch, she said, and didn't know when he was coming back. Then she shut the door. I was more than a bit tearful, but, you know, looking back, I think we both needed to have a bit of an adventure.
应该是用小剧情故事抓人生中不一样回忆的每个人经验产生的共鸣吧。可是好难入戏哦。 我觉得呢。
I spent a lot of time with Sally during this period. We used to meet up quite often when she returned from Floristry College and I was working at the museum. For a while I thought maybe we would get...
重点是那样吗？重点吗？哎，这是啥？等一下，是监狱啊，是消波块啊！大家知道吗？哦，台中海边的那个里面，其实每一颗都有一个人啦。 就像这样。我该不会泡个澡吧？天哪！ 你不要说，就没有人知道啊。我上次有讲吗？还是我讲过了？哦，我讲过了。我们别再提起那件事，大家就会淡忘它，好吗？我忘记是我自己讲的。
Camels are so obviously a made-up animal. Humans will believe any old rubbish.
Old rubbish 这只狗很凶欸，没看过这么凶的狗，它是猫吧？
I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris. I'll pop up to let you know when we're close to one.
We were 14 when we started going. We'd been going out for a few years when I applied to Flourish.
Ah, 可以，吉娃娃可以。
How did that get in there?
哎，我以前一直有这个疑问哎，到底怎么放进去的？今天感觉可以玩玩。骗人，是吗？是又在骗我。哎呀！ 骗人呐、怎么可能是用夹子煮的？当我笨蛋呐、8个。口口还有。东西啊。我是不是又在脱窗了？哪里？什么船？你说那个小船吗？哪里啊？什么？你是刚跑去 Google 了？ 章鱼怎么放进去的啊？走开！
It was the day of the island cricket match out on the vault.
啊，我是藤壶哦，信啊，哪次不信？可少。
It was the day of the island cricket match.
哪是啊？哪是？蛋菜耶，我觉得蛋菜味道超恶心的。多西哦，在哪里啦？在哪？生气。有看到在哪吗？哪里？ 在哪里？你们看到？不要说。啊啊！在那边乱说话。尬笑。不是吗？
Hey, Morris. Remember when we found one of these heavy balls on the beach and I dropped it on your toe?
I missed Ogden so much, and for the first month there was no letter at all. I took my place at college on the mainland without knowing how he was feeling. It was a shock how low it made me, even though I was working with flowers, my dream job. I threw myself into making friends and working as hard as I could. I wondered about him travelling the world, without me and without his sousaphone. What he was doing, how he was feeling. Then the letters started arriving, and it was amazing. Each one came with a penny from a different country. One from Valparaiso, another from Dakar. I wrote back and told Ogden about my course, trips to Kew Gardens, which were amazing. And Ogden told me about his voyage, watching dolphins and flying fish, crossing the equator. Sometimes we were both lonely. We poured out our hearts to each other. In a funny way, I think the letters made us closer than ever. When he arrived in Christchurch, he'd send me flowers pressed in his letters. I sent him a shell from home, and then he sent me a New Zealand halfpenny. It was my
我
favourite.
到现在还会
On
写
one
手写
side
信
was
的
the head of a
人。
Maori tiki. Ogden told me it was lucky.
大家现在是不是都不写信啊？啊！
I came back to the island, and when my father
很浪
died,
漫，
I opened up my own florist shop on the quay.
手写
I
信超
tucked the
浪漫
halfpenny
的。
under the front step for luck, polished up Ogden's sousaphone and put it in the window. They both brought me luck, and the shop flourished.
真的啊，现在还有人在写啊？是不是要骗我？
One day, Ogden showed up at the shop, completely out of the blue. He told me there was nowhere like Shelmerston, and no one like me. I was so thrilled to see him, I asked him to marry me there and then. He said yes.
Mm. 超纯情，纯情的故事。
The lure of Shelmerston. It always pulls people back when they try to
写
move
空手
away.
屋顶写什么？
They were a lovely couple, Sally and Ogden.
Ah, 啊，我真的听不懂哎，什么是什么？什么？何これ？哎，不要乱说话啦！不要乱说话，跳什么跳？ 啊啊！
Yet one good thing about being dead, I'll never have to deal with counting change again.
数学不好哦。原来是漏斗啊！我以为是通马桶的。
They seem to have been using it as a funnel. These bootleggers are very resourceful. Ah, yes. A very distinctive odor indeed.
Oh, it's great to
Have a stretch of...
Sparky! Owner of the very finest singing voice of the...
Well, it's about...
Ah, yes. I've heard that volcano rumbling. Poor Aggie must be very tired.
Yes, she is. We need a
Oh. Oh, you want me to be the custodian?
Are you sure? The island is in dire need.
I know, and I sympathize, but Sally is the other half of me. I need to watch over her. Everything else may be changing, but she's my constant, and I'm hers.
Yes, We were very lucky to find each other. And I'm still lucky just to watch over.
Ah, sure. Well, after all,
You were busy with the museum, Morris. And you did walks, and you did fetch, and belly rubs, and...
yeah, all right, yes. I was very busy. Thank you for reminding me.
You did plenty. But now you need to find the next custodian.
Hey, how long has
Oh, a little while now. You've met her, actually.
I have?
Well, her body, anyway, in the museum.
What? Her body? In the museum? Oh,
City.
wait!
That's right, Morris.
The bog lady. The bog lady is...
Well, that's her body, anyway. Her spirit is all around us, of course.
But Aggie is Bronze Age. 3,000 years. She's been custodian all that time?
尸体。
Yep.
Wow. No wonder she's tired.
More tired every minute. We need to get to the next prospect. Greg Litherland, at the campsite.
Greg. Okay. The one part of the island I never spent much time at. I never cared for camping. Although we did find a lot of Bronze Age goods down here. Really fascinating bits and bobs.
Oh, there's so many great smells here. Oh, and so many rabbits to chase. Stop it, Sparky, you have a job to do.
You know, I suppose I do like it better up here now I don't have to worry about combing all those burrs out of your fur. At least this part of Shelmerston isn't...
Yes. Now let's sniff out Greg.
Yeah, I always found Greg a bit... different.
He wasn't a bad guy at heart.
Memories of Greg Litherland.
还有三个，应该可以吧？还有三个。贝壳装赛跑。好嘞。他不告诉我要找什么，不是吧？直接不告诉他找什么了，是不是？厕所哎。贝壳装赛跑，
Miles and I came to Shelmerston for the Sheller Cup final. Miles was the world champion for ages. Greg, the campsite manager, was a huge Sheller fan. Always gave us the best pitch on the campsite. Miles was up early every morning, training for the big race. Greg would always be lurking in the background, taking photos. It became rather annoying. How many photos did he need? Oh God, and one time he turned up at our barbecue and wouldn't leave. The man could not take a hint. So, race day arrives, and Greg is there with his camera, of course, getting in everyone's way. So, Greg leans out into the track as the pack came past, Miles in the lead. And Miles goes crashing right into Greg. Total disaster. Miles goes down, and Kwasi flies past him to win the race. Miles was absolutely gutted. He definitely would have won it. Later that night, all us Shellers were on our way back from the pub, and we heard Greg outside his caravan, just sat by himself, crying. Miles, he was such a good sport, went over and spoke to him, invited him over to our camp for a drink. So then Greg came back and hung out with us, brought his camera and showed us all his Sheller race photos. You know, that guy was actually a pretty great photographer. By the end of the night, Miles had forgiven him. Miles was good like that. Miles and I came to Shelmerston for the Sheller Cup final. Miles was the world champion for Miles. It became so, and Miles later that night, all us Sheller. So then Greg came back and hung out with us, brought his camera and showed us all his Sheller race photos. You know, that guy was actually a pretty great photographer. By the end of the night, Miles had forgiven him. Miles was good like that.
Shellers? I've never run.
天玩完？你说明天把层层恐惧玩完吗？怎么可能？开什么玩笑？还剩很多哎、好恐怖。起床啊！还剩很多吧？那个层层恐惧的柜子好像还剩，应该有6个吧。
I only knew Greg briefly, from the summer that I took over the campsite and he retired. He seemed harmless enough, if a bit strange, living in
我
that
拿回一
nasty
个
little
东西大概
caravan.
要1个小时呢。
As part of his official handover process, he gave me a big box of rule books that I was apparently supposed to give every camper when they arrived. I couldn't believe them. The amount of inches apart each tent had to be, the angle of pitch, permitted colours of guy ropes. No skipping ropes, marbles, conkers, or throwing games. No singing with hand drums. I built a huge fire on the beach,
还不是
invited the whole site for a big party, and burned the lot.
一定是玩太多恐怖游戏被诅咒了。
But then, awkward. Greg showed up. I guess he'd been collecting some things from his caravan and came to see what the noise was all about. You could tell he wasn't comfortable, but he sat down and tried to make conversation. I told him how beautiful I thought Shelmerston was, and he started telling me all about the wildlife here and the best places to spot birds. He was actually quite a sweet guy. He must have noticed what we were burning, but he never mentioned it. That was the last time I saw him. I always felt a bit guilty. I mean...
Well, it's a good thing she kept one of them. It must be around here
小的
somewhere.
收花。 错。
What's this about Doc? I'm getting the scent of Grenkins again, Morris.
不抓我才不要抓嘞！刚才也是人。才不是哎、你乱说。少2个人，天哪！
My whole life I've dreamed of seeing a Jempson's sea owl. One day, I read the news that a guy on this little island called Shelmerson had discovered one. I had to see it. The only B&B on the island booked up really fast, so we decided to stay at the temporary campsite set up by the guy who discovered the sea owl, Greg Litherland. The atmosphere was amazing. Greg had given the owl a name, David Abrahams. A bit weird, but I guess he was the one who found it. And because it had no mate, it was lonely, and he'd made a model female owl out of concrete. That's quite impressive. I got to know Greg a bit during my stay. He really seemed to resent all the noise and fuss on the island. His island, as he thought of it. And the irony was that he was the one who'd got everyone excited about coming to Shelmerston. Greg told us he'd take us up in groups to the owl's nest site, but I snuck up early with my camera. It saw me and it flew off hooting and I didn't get a picture. I had to make do with a picture of the model. It wasn't the same.
I remember that. All those bird watchers suddenly arriving and nowhere for...
Yeah.
My whole life I've dreamed of seeing a Jempson's CO. The only B&B on the Greg had given the hole a name.
等一下，阿轩，阿轩，你就等优素出来的时候才要说话，是不是？解释哦，解释什么意思？给我解释。嗯。 还敢休息呢，阿轩。乱丢啊！内裤怎么直接丢在外面？不行啊，好像玩不完呢。
Oh.
是啊，等一下，你确定？我真的，我跟你讲，我群组的人里面的人真的没在骗你，我真的烂到一个不行哦，烂到爆，零杀零伤害哦，大概里面有几局啊？80%都是零杀零伤害，你确定？我觉得你会后悔啊！正常吗？这样正常吗？我已经18等了欸，我已经18等，然后零杀，可是可以吃。我队友啊，我队友是鬼啊！他们3个人玩跟2个人玩，哎，他们可能3个人玩就等于1.5个人在玩。好啊，私底下好啊，可以啊。好。可以，你不要崩溃就好。我主要是怕你崩溃。我是迫害啊，是迫害啊！
Oh, I wish we could use this. I am a very photogenic dog, you know.
讲的好像每次都有补到一样。对啦，跳伞也是要让你们训练啦。动一动。
I love camping. We've come to Shelmerston every summer with the kids for years. Okay, our tent is a bit bright, but that means the kids can always see it. Greg seemed angry about everything this year. He told us our tent was outside of the regulation colours, and being around the kids seemed to really upset him.
我
They were only
真
being
的
kids.
完全看不到
But
开
one
枪
day,
打我的人
Greg
到底站在
confiscated my
哪。
little one's kite. He was terrifying.
我
We
视
still
力很
sometimes
好
get
的
nightmares
说，
about it.
但只要
I
一
had to
开
do
FPS，
something.
不知道为什么突然就看不
When
到
I。saw Greg put the whistle down, I pinched it and took out the pea. You know, the thing that makes the noise. I threw that pea somewhere Greg would never find
不
it.
是真的看不
You should have seen his
到
face
哦
when he blew his whistle and nothing happened.
太快了，我看不清楚。
I always wondered how Greg managed to get so good at hand whistling.
场哎，我才不是选择性失明呢。对不起。好嘞。的账呢？没有开玩笑的，我开玩笑的，我开玩笑的，我不敢扛啊！不要，开玩笑的啦，开玩笑的啦。千万别塌啊！有树。你躺下去，我们在一起可能就差不多5秒钟就会结束了吧？什么？这么好，那我躺着玩啊，说什么？这样好像本来有在认真一样，本来就是躺着。你们去后面排队啦，奇怪呢。哎、没有够，我真的是，没有。我跟你说，我真的是一个善良的人。我玩 GTA 的时候，我之前有买 GTA， 就我玩 GTA 的时候会忍不住很想要停红灯诶，大家可以了解我的心情吗？不是那个红灯在前面，不觉得很想停吗？我都会想说，到底要不要走？我就会有点想，不是，大家忍不住了，是不是？就是会，对啊，会，会想说，哎、红灯了，哎，就是对。没有，我后来有过啦，但是就是会忍不住啊，会忍不住吧？是，你们有驾照吗？你们知道有驾照的人看到红灯就是会想要停吗？懂吗？懂吗？所以我后来就没玩了。不是，不会那样。之前有人说我是不是在玩模拟市民？在哪啦？找不到呢，是下一个啊？是吗？兔子的厕所。 子便便，兔子便便。这是什么啊？到底？都没有人会停吗？大家不会忍不住吗？可恶！我就不相信只有我。这些危险分子。我也有撞啊，就是不小心会撞到啊，会撞到路人呢、是我是故意的，没有不小心撞到路人啊，不小心的啦。我有想要闪他们啦，但就是会撞到。在哪里？东西有。这些危险分子啊！
I love camping. Greg seemed angry about everything. One day, Greg confiscated my little one's kite. He was terrifying. We still sometimes... When I saw Greg put the whistle down, I pinched it and took out the pea. You know, the thing that makes the noise. I threw that pea somewhere Greg would never find it. He should have...
在哪里？该不会在那一堆兔子便便里面吧？
The smell of rabbit poo. It doesn't excite.
My best thing is throwing discs. I am really good. I like playing with Dan and Toddler. It's our favourite thing when we go camping on Shelmerston. One time, Greg Clifferland came up the beach, all red-faced like an angry tomato. He pointed at a sign. It said, "No throwing games." He was yelling and shouting. He told me to give him my disc, but I wouldn't. I threw it high up into the air.
到顶了！我今天满幼女社长看完了，超级好看，大
Then
家
the
可以去看。
bird fell into the sea. I felt so awful.
片长很短，
I
一
never
集才
meant to
1.5
hurt
分钟嘞，
birds.
整
The
片
whole thing was
超好看，
terrible.
萝莉超可爱的萝
Mr.
莉。
Lifflam was
快去看
screaming. He waded into the sea, picked up that
这一集有一
bird,
部
and carried it back to the beach. He was
天竺鼠
crying
车
and
车。
crying. I'm so
看起来很像小朋友在看，但他这不是，他这很好笑。天竺鼠车车有毒，真的看，他就是这届霸权犯了，
Oh, Greg.
接受质疑。
Poor guy.
天竺鼠车车
Oh,
超好
and
笑
that
的，
poor bird. I guess that
快点
explains
看，
why
作
he
者
was
脑洞
always so...
超大的。真的很好看啦，真心不骗。天竺鼠车车，我已经推荐好多人看了。啊，不看不看不看就不看。然后等一下，对不起，我讲话太不清楚了。不要被尼克讲完变成另外一种番的感觉，不对吧？不对，不是。变成李帆了是吗？不是，我们要推荐你们李帆。而且不要在这里散布那种恶心的东西。天竺鼠车车啦，天竺鼠。 我才不在乎嘞！怀疑你在开车，但是我没有证据哦。啊，是哦。啊，不行，那今天应该玩不完了，我回去自己把它玩完。这两关明天要玩什么？明天玩，不想看。明天玩。不要在那边危险发言哦。
I love these things. Reminds me of our walks on the beach.
你这样不知道的人会觉得你是变态啦。明天玩层层恐惧，还是要玩那个叫，还是要玩抓鬼？层层恐惧啊！为什么问你们吗？我就是要选一个你们看起来比较不累的，我怕你们看得太累，看得太痛苦。啊，等一下，我说啊，你可挖坑给我跳啊！我刚刚看那个谁，另外一个 VTuber， 哎呀呀，在玩 Outlast， 我叫的比他还大声啊！我在旁边看，我都流手汗了哎！我怕你们很痛苦，我可能不敢踏出那个柜子门。
Greg!
Morris!
Hi, Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
Oh, my you.
Well, now hold on.
Oh, isn't it? No.
Fine.
Thanks.
It's not looking good, is it?
Don't worry, Morris.
He's waiting for David.
Yes.
Really?
No.
Hey, Sparky.
Well,
Aggie.
no time to...
Well.
So...
要玩吗？哈，难度很高呢。我玩层层恐惧就快要崩溃了，那里面都没鬼了，没人也没有鬼。
the harbour. I always...
I'd have
I
liked...
love...
Oh.
Certainly are.
No, I don't.
Does it?
Oh.
Yes.
Not...
好啦，让我想一下玩哪一玩什么。我考虑一下。我玩抓鬼我就怕爆了，差一点哭哎、真的差一点哭出来，没在骗。
I swim with a pod south of the Fire Isles. I believe the dry-siders call the larger one Shelmerston. It's where the ceremony happens for the dry-sider who stopped the world from cracking. That's where I first heard talk of toast and where I met the friend called Samfire. I did not believe it at first. A food which snaps so dry. Then one morning at sunup, I followed the ship and caught a blackened slice as it arced into the water. This was the start of my lifelong love of toast.
好，谢谢阿轩，翻译吧。
I saw Samfire on the dry side and came up out of the sea to ask them for toast. They asked me to put on some pants, but I refused to denigrate myself with dry-side fabric. No matter, I had brought some shiny coins with me that I found on the seabed and secreted in my swimming falls. Sam took me to their parents' toast shack, but they refused to serve me without clothes. They also told me that my shiny coins were unsuitable, too old. So Sam lent me some trousers, and I swept the toast shack in return for crispy slices. Sam taught me some of the ways of the dry-siders, but to be honest, I'm only interested in the toast. I never wanted to eat anything else. Some understood this. I spend my nights swimming through the black waters of the deepest ocean trenches. By day, I come up onto quayside and fill up on the finest crusted seedy bloomer, almost black.
应该可以，要是我等下私讯你。好。 不行，不行！哎，等一下，我上次联动抓鬼还好吧？很逊吗？还好吧？我只是没有什么贡献，还好吧？没有很逊吧？我自己一个人玩的时候比较逊啊！
Oh,
不要
I
不要
could
不要
really go
说
for
你
a
不要告
nice
诉
piece of
我，
toast
做
right
你
now.
不想知道。我这个联动真的还好啊，我是自己一个人玩比较逊吧，我真不敢走进那个房子啊，不是啊。
By the time Sam started as the harbour controller in '79, the fishing industry in Shelmiston was on its arse. No way to compete with those factory
上
trawlers
次
from
联
the
动
mainland,
抓
was
鬼
there?
那个时候
Couldn't
才
moor
说
those
应该
things
是
anywhere
最后
near
一
the
次恐
island,
怖游
even
戏
if。we had them. Of course, we were all smug
上礼拜的
stands
事
to
情而已。
reason, done it? There was no money. All those old fishing sheds on the quay, the ones the tourists like, were falling down. There was a lot of trouble at first. Sam trying to stick by the rules and catch us out any way they could, and us trying any which way to give her the runabout. Wasn't easy, mind you. She
但
was
这礼
smart.
拜
that
不就
Sam.
要玩很多
You never knew when they were going to pop her head out of the water beside your tub. And to be fair to Sam, some of them smuggling boys. But in time, Sam started to see how things work, how we do things, and we came to an understanding of sorts. If Sam turned a blind eye to a bit of the decent stuff, the harmless stuff, then we'd report the worst of it. I mean, we all. Sam was sharp as a gutting knife. They made us hand over some of the, shall we say, dividends to fix up the quay, all them sheds and that. Make them into something we can be proud of. Turn things around for Shelmiston, that did. Now we get more of those tourists since the big ferry started, and they love a day out on a boat. Ken takes them all out, he does.
不知道哎，可恶啊！我那个时候自我介绍的时候还说我不玩的游戏，就是卡牌游戏跟恐怖游戏啊，好像是这样。
At the same time, Sam organised a kind of work-sharing thing with the fish folk. Got some of them to swim along with the fishing boats, help them locate the biggest shoals. Gave those big trawlers with all their fancy radar gear a run for their money. We'll never be big players in the fishing down here. But thanks to Sam, we hold our own. Bless him.
I reckon I...
When I was a kid, I hated the annual Morlow Cull. I was kept away and found excuses not to be there. Then, aged 10, my dad marched me down to the beach with other men and put a knife in my hand. It was the worst day of my life. I saw Morlows slit from jaw to belly, more blood than you could imagine. I didn't sleep for months after.
然后我跟这里所有的人讲完话，我就关
But you grow up, don't you?
这个岛上
I
面。
never felt it right that we was killing Morlows, but what could I do about it? I was just a fisherman. One day I see Samfire, the new harbour officer, handing out leaflets on the quayside.
Stop that, Col.
I went along to that first meeting at the campsite. Greg Litherland was one of the other organisers. It was beautiful. So much hope around that campfire. When I spoke of me, Sam and Greg held regular events to raise funds for badges and patches. I was proud to wear mine on me best Gansey. There was quite a rift between us and the old guard. They felt the ban was an attack on our ways. Sam and me took a load of the fishermen out for a beer, and Sam made them listen. They really respected Sam. By 87, we finally felt like we had enough support to push for change. So the week before the Morlow showed up, we organised a mass dying on the beach. There were loads of us lying down on that sand. Islanders, fishermen, fish folk.
I'm so glad.
好，不想跟他们讲完话了，我想关了。等一下。啊？好啊，那我今天玩到这，希望明天。希望明天可以动，然后我再想一下明天玩什么好了。我考虑一下，那明天晚上应该是10点，对，明天晚上10点，考虑一下玩层层恐惧还是奥莱斯特吧，就这样。好，就这样，拜拜，大家拜拜，拜拜。对啊，10点了，玩不完啦，玩不完。好，剩下还有2个，还有2个。大家拜拜，大家晚安。嘿嘿嘿。